guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, coming to you with a Tools That Don't Suck video. Today's edition is a mix of old and new. So a really neat old tool I have in the corner of my shop that often gets forgotten about when we talk about some of these Tools That Don't Suck videos is my 1920s Weaver high-speed screw press. Really quick, neat little story about the screw press. I got this at a pretty well-known dirt racer here in the Northeast. He passed away, unfortunately. His name was Red Coffin. He was known in the Northeast for being a competitive dirt racer, and there is a lot of dirt racing that went on in this part of the world. So there is a lot of stuff that's starting to pop up. At his estate auction, or one of his estate auctions at his garage, there's a lot of really neat old race parts that came up. I got a bunch of stuff myself, and of course they were selling the shop equipment, and I instantly, when I saw the pictures of the auction, saw this really neat old screw press and had to have it. So I scored it for pretty cheap. It came with all the kind of accessory blocks that he had over the years for pressing things in and out, and I have been using it just for general maintenance type stuff around the shop. But what I've recently been using it for, and it's really come in handy, is Eastwood recently came out with the Eastwood press brake for using in a hydraulic or screw press. Now, most people nowadays have hydraulic presses, and they work great. You can get them cheap at all sorts of different places, and you can get them used, of course, if you search around. But of course, me like having some of this big heavy cast iron vintage stuff, I have been using it with my screw press. So it's been working really well. It has some attachments around the top where you can actually lock it into the ram on a hydraulic press. On mine it actually fits just perfectly. It's the same diameter, so I can work it down and actually press in different things. And I also sometimes will swap out and use some of these other pieces of metal that I have to create kind of custom shapes. If I want to just put a rounded shape into a bracket, I will do that. And I feel like we've been using this thing a lot in recent videos, and we didn't really stop to talk about either of these two tools, and that's why I wanted to tell you about that. I've always wanted a press brake for years, but the bigger hydraulic press brakes are really expensive, even secondhand. They're hard to find. I haven't been able to find one, and honestly I don't do enough of it that it really warrants taking up the shop space. So a press I can use in all different ways, and using this with the press, it kind of saves some space. So you can bend up to 3/16 steel with this, which is really handy. Obviously you can go thicker or thinner depending on the width that you bend, but that's basically what it's rated to. And it's pretty simple. It has the springs on the side of it, so as you tighten the you go down with the press, it brings down the sharp edge or semi-sharp edge on the press brake, and it actually bends the metal into it. And how far you go down is how much you can bend. You can bend just a little over 90 if you really crank it hard, but basically you can make nice crisp 90-degree bends in thicker material or under. So it's been working really well for that. The press itself is pretty neat. Generally, the most times you're using this handle right here. There is another handle that swings down, and that it looks really simple, but it's actually really well engineered. All the different functions that it can do. So it has a little knob here where you can actually turn the knob, and depending on the way you turn the knob is how you can turn the handle. And it has one side that has a little ramp on it, so depending on how you have the little ramp turned is how it will actually ratchet. So you can go like that. I have a little handle I shove in here on the side that I can bend, and I know I have tight quarters here like any car guy. Your garage fills up really quickly, so I got all kinds of parts stashed here. So I have this stashed in between my fridge and one of my parts shelves with a lot of my speed equipment. So this works well though. I'm always usually doing smaller work in here, so I don't really need a lot of space. But yeah, so you can turn this handle, turn the other one like this, and now you can go the other way. It's pretty cool. So the other thing it has a handle up here that you can actually stick a handle in here, and it will add to your force that you can actually turn it down. It can multiply the force. So really neat setup. I came with the original table. When I got this thing, the legs that are on it are kind of like almost crude looking, and I thought that they were something was homemade actually, but once I found a picture of an old catalog from the 20s that showed this model and some of the smaller and larger models, I saw that actually the feet were original. They have like a little bend in them, and I thought that they were just something that was either damaged or made up, but actually that's how they are made. So this thing's really sturdy, it's come in handy, and it's another one of those instances where you can match an old tool with something that's new that's come out that is a little more inexpensive, and together you can use them to create really good stuff. So that's all I have for a short, quick little tools that don't suck video of old and new today. If you guys want to learn more about the tools in this video, you can click the link down below to check out more on the Eastwood tool, and we'll also drop a little link down below of the brochure that I found for the old Weaver press. So if you guys are really geek out about old tools like I do, you can read in that link about the directions and how it works. Thanks guys, appreciate it. Catch you later.